Hey Kiss Army, it's me, Dr. Fuck, and I'm making a tribute video here for the late great Eric Carr. 24 years ago today, he passed away. I see here November 24th, 1991. Was a shocker. I found out about his death on MTV. Just came out, like, you know, everybody was talking about, like, Freddie Mercury just died. I was like, wow, you know. And I knew that, you know, I've known that Eric had operation and health problems, but I really didn't think he was going to die. So I was in complete shock and bummed, you know. I was already bummed because I am a Queen fan, you know. I love Freddie Mercury too, and it was a grim-ass day. And, you know, Freddie Mercury really did steal all the spotlight because, you know, he was a bigger figure, bigger celebrity, which is a shame because Eric Carr did so much, and he busted his ass to keep Kiss going. A lot of people give credit to Paul Stanley for saving Kiss in the 80s, but Eric Carr was right there with him the whole time. You know, just like while Gene's trying to be a movie star, Eric was there, keeping the Kiss machine rolling, and he never really got credit for that. Paul took all the credit. I mean, what was Eric doing? Eric was back there kicking ass. And I always said that, to me, the highlight of Kiss shows in the 80s, I said this back in the 80s, was you got to see Eric Carr's drum solo. It's always awesome. I'm not a big fan of drum solos, but I loved Eric Carr's drum solos. And I always tell people, man, Eric Carr, he always has a great drum solo, and they're usually different than the prior show. And first time I ever saw Kiss, man, I'll never forget, was the Creatures of the Night tour with Plasmatics opening, and man, I'll never forget that big tank. And that drum solo he did that night was just fucking phenomenal. And then saw him the following tour, look it up, and they brought the tank back, and I saw Animalize in Sunrise, Florida with Crocus. Kick-ass show too, man. And Asylum with Wasp. Crazy Nights with Ted Nugent. Hot in the Shade. I remember it was some glam band, Slaughter or some shit, and I stayed outside drinking Jack Daniels and then went in. And I understand, like, years later I read how they cut his drum solo on the Hot in the Shade tour. He was really pissed off. Well, I must have caught it early because that night he did a drum solo. And I remember, man, I was with my friend Nick Brote. If anybody knows where he is, please get him in contact with me. You want to talk about somebody that's disappeared. And we just both looked at each other saying, now that's a fucking drum solo. Eric Carr ruled, man, and he doesn't really get that much mention anymore. And it's sad, man. And you know, us, the Kiss Army, I know we keep his memory alive, but you know what, man, we should even do it more. Like, if you got a Facebook, post some Eric Carr stuff as much as you can. Keep his memory alive, because Eric Carr was a true fucking rock star, if you ask me. The guy was amazing. And as I understood, he was very nice to the fans. I, unfortunately, never got to meet Eric Carr. But, and I also want to say, not to say anything bad about Eric, because I love Eric, man, is that I've had people ask me a lot to review his albums, Rockology, and I know there was another one. And I'm going to say this now, and I just want to be honest, you know. I listened to it today again, and it just doesn't do anything for me. And I feel like Eric, do you know why it doesn't do anything? See, here will be my review for the Eric Carr album. And in no way I'm dissing the man, because the guy was amazing. But listening to those two releases of Eric Carr that came out after he passed away, by the way, it just sounds unfinished to me. It just doesn't sound good. I don't like the production of it. I feel like if Eric would have lived and worked on it, it would have been kick-ass. Because I hear the songs, all of them had like this potential, but it just missed the mark because they're just demos. Eric, I don't think ever wanted this to be released. You know? I mean, obviously, because it would have been released. But I feel like everybody, and that's all I want to say about it. I am not going to review the Eric Carr albums because I respect the man, and I don't want to go track by track saying how I don't like his work. You know? There he is right here, man. I love Eric Carr. I always have. I always thought he was a phenomenal drummer. He fit the role of the 80s Kiss. He was thunderous. The fucking drum sound on Creatures of the Night is one of the greatest drum sounds you'll ever hear off any album. I can't think of many. John Bonham, and Tommy Lee on that John Corabi album has a really sick drum sound. But the Creatures album, I don't know why they didn't keep that sound going on, like, on Lick It Up, and they should have kept that thunderous drum sound, man, because the guy was just, And what else can I say, man? This is a video just to say that never forget the Fox, Eric Carr. He was a fucking amazing performer, amazing drummer, and as I understand, amazing human being. I love the fans, so hail to Eric Carr, and do me a favor, Kiss Army. Everybody out there that's watching this right now, get on your Facebook and just put up a video of him, a picture. Just write something about Eric Carr. Eric Carr, you know why? Because he deserves it. He worked hard to keep Kiss going. He was a solid member. You can tell he was a faithful, dedicated person because of all the stories I've heard. He stuck through a lot of hard times because it wasn't easy being in Kiss for him, as I understand, and he stuck through it. He may have complained and bitched and stuff, but you know what? I don't blame him because the guy deserved way more than he had. He should have been equal to Gene and Paul, in my opinion. But I'm not one to talk about that part because let's leave that alone. It's over. Let's just celebrate the life of Eric Carr. He was a great person, and this is my dedication to Eric Carr. I love him. I love Eric Carr, and I wish he was still here. It sucks that he's not. So, hails to Eric, and please keep his memory alive, and always, always post stuff. Today on Facebook, on the Almost Human 56 page, I told everybody, today is Eric Carr Day. Post nothing but Eric Carr stuff, and man, there was some great stuff. Like Kids Are People Too video where they introduced them. A lot, there's a lot of videos people put up, pictures, and my favorite was one guy put up a story about Eric Carr where it's in some book where I gotta read the book where Gene Simmons says, "Hey guys," he had a meeting. He goes, "Hey, just to let you know, tomorrow at the show, my mother's gonna be there. Anybody got a problem with it?" And everybody stayed quiet and stuff, and then. Eric Carr looked up and said, "So, does that mean blowjobs for all of us?" And everybody was like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?" And then Gene started cracking up. And then everybody started laughing. So I thought that was a great fucking story. And another one on YouTube was, it was an interview with him there where they asked him, "Where's Vinnie Vincent?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." He said a couple things, and he goes, "Last thing I heard, he was auditioning for the role of E.T." He was funny, man. So I'm celebrating. I know I felt like I was ending the video, but I'm continuing it because I just want people to remember Eric Carr. That's all I want because I feel the man deserves a lot of praise, way more than he ever had, because he was always in the shadow of Peter Criss, the original Kiss. But the truth of the matter is, as a musician, as a drummer, motherfucker was a badass. Now I'm going to end it by saying, please, keep his memory alive. Always remember Eric Carr. I love you, Eric Carr, wherever you are right now. I hope you're fucking drumming. I hope you're in a band with 2 drummers, you and John Bonham, because I know that was your idol. Hope both of you are like best of buds right now. All hail Eric Carr. Remember him. Never forget, guys. Bye.